You're listening to the Vocabbett podcast, where I help students improve their vocabulary for the SAT, ACT, and life itself using my unique and research-backed story-based method. On this podcast, I'm sharing the best tips and tricks for a more enriched vocabulary and pain-free test day. Hello, and welcome to episode number 27 of the Vocabbett podcast. I'm Erica Abbott, a former English and history teacher, the author of the young adult novel Ahead of Her Time, and the founder of the eponymously named vocabulary company, Vocabbett. I'm so excited about this episode, and I know I always say that, but it's because I am. But today I'm sharing something that I think is really going to help you improve your summer SAT prep. It's called 500 Words in 50 Days, the stress-free, done-for-you summer SAT guide, and it's a challenge that I would love to see all of you take. I really don't think there's any easier way to improve your vocabulary than with the Vocabbett method. And this challenge really provides a clear and efficient path to get the most out of Vocabbett resources. Before I dive into what this challenge is and how it's going to look, I just want to really quickly share for all of the new people here how Vocabbett works. If you've been with me from the beginning, just give me 2 seconds. So if you're new here, welcome. Vocabbett was really born out of my own personal experience studying languages. I spent years studying abroad across Latin America, Europe, and the Middle East throughout high school and college. And because of that, I was able to experiment with a lot of different language acquisition techniques. You know, everything from a traditional classroom setting to full-on immersion. And I saw firsthand how extraordinarily powerful the human brain can be when you put it in the right environment. I saw how you can learn more of a language in 1 year with an immersion method than with 7 years in the classroom. After 1 year immersed in Italy, I was more or less fluent in Italian. But how many of us take 7 or 8 years of Spanish at school and at the end of it can barely hold a conversation? How you learn something matters. The techniques you use, the approach you take, will impact your results. It's the difference between running to the finish line and hopping to the finish line with your shoelaces tied together. You might have the same end goal, but you're deluding yourself if you think both of those approaches are going to get you there in the same amount of time. So how does this relate to SAT prep and SAT vocabulary? By the time I graduated and started teaching, I realized that our approach to English vocabulary is pretty similar to how we teach vocabulary in a foreign language. And this makes sense. There are only so many ways to teach a word, no matter the language. So you get a lot of flashcards, study guides, repetitive computer memorization games, things like that. And I couldn't help but wonder if immersion is light years ahead of these techniques in learning a foreign language, what could it do for our English vocabulary? And I know what you're thinking. How do you immerse yourself in English if you're already living in an English-speaking country? Aren't we already doing this? But I'm specifically talking about immersion with SAT words, creating a world in which you encounter these words in the everyday, in context. And with Vocabbett, I've designed basically the closest thing you can get to an immersion experience with SAT words. I have videos and podcasts and short stories and a book, all of which weave SAT words into the larger story, so subtly that half the time you might not even realize they're there, but the end result is that your brain is logging impression after impression of all of these words. Studies show that most people need to encounter a word 8 times in order to reliably learn it. I often refer to these as your 8 impressions. And yeah, you absolutely can get these impressions by flipping flashcards or whatever, but here's the thing. Most likely, you weren't flipping flashcards in the crib. You didn't learn the majority of your native tongue by doing that. You have most likely learned thousands, if not tens of thousands of words already through the immersion method. Just listening to people talk, reading books, picking words up in the everyday. This method builds on existing neural pathways, which is basically just a fancy way of saying roads in your brain. This is a really smooth, clear road to take to learn new words. The reason we switch to other memorization techniques as we get older, I think, is because the complexity of the vocabulary in our day-to-day lives eventually stagnates. When you're a kid, so many words are new, it's not that hard to encounter one 8 times and learn it. And I believe you could continue learning that way, painlessly and pretty passively, forever if you wanted to. But the problem is, as we get older, we more or less stop encountering new words in our everyday life. Usually at around a ninth grade level, we all settle into more or less the same speech patterns. The TV we watch, the books we read, the conversations we have don't really use a lot of SAT words. And so it makes sense that if we're not getting these words through an immersion method, we have to figure out another way to learn them. With Vocabbett, I'm giving you that painless immersion method that your brain is already so experienced with. I give you fun stories that weave in big words throughout, giving you the 8 impressions you need without the traditional, tedious memorization techniques. With the 500 words in 50 days challenge, I've taken all of the resources in the Vocabbett membership and given you a roadmap to get the most out of it in the least amount of time as you possibly can. And I'm really throwing everything I know about learning into this. In my experience, an element of competition and rewards also makes things more fun. So there will be challenges and points for each module, and at the end, I'll give away gift cards for the winners. I'm going to do $50 for the first place prize and $20 for second and third place because I really want to get the best work out of you as I possibly can. You can pick the store that you want the gift card to as long as your parents and I both approve. And I'm going to share more details about the challenge on Thursday's podcast. But the big thing to know for now is that this challenge is going to start next Tuesday, June 23rd. I want to give it a week to get the word out and let people sign up. If you're already a Vocabbett member, you get access to this challenge for free. You do not have to pay a single penny. The only thing I need from you if you're already a Vocabbett member is I need to know if you want to participate in the challenge or not. That way I can keep track of points and rewards and everything. If you want to participate in this challenge, just hit reply on any of your podcast accompaniments and let me know that you want to participate. And the reason I'm doing it that way instead of, putting a form up on the website is because every time you guys engage with me using that email address, it trains Gmail and the other email servers to see my emails as valuable. And that way they're less likely to end up in the promotions folder. They're more likely to go to primary. So thanks for doing me a favor by just replying to my email and saying whether or not you want to participate in the challenge. If you're not a Vocabbett member, head to vocabbett.com/500 words, and that's 500 with numerals 500. You do need to be a Vocabbett member to participate in the challenge, but I've created a special challenge-only price. Normally, you either have to pick between month-to-month or annual memberships, but I've added a 50-day challenge-only membership if you just want to dip your toes in the water. This challenge-only price is going to disappear once the challenge begins. So if you want to participate and you want to lock in that special price, you need to do it within the next week. I am so excited about this. I really think every high schooler should take this challenge. Why not add up to 500 words to your vocabulary this summer? And yes, I know I just spoke in kind of legalese a little bit. So let's just be clear that this is a challenge. I can't guarantee that you will learn 500 words, but I can guarantee that if you participate in this challenge, you will have a huge head start on adding a mountain of vocabulary words to your arsenal. And the benefits you can reap from that in school, on the SAT, in college are really incalculable. So Vocabbett members, if you want to participate, just send me a quick email. It'll take 2 seconds, and I really appreciate it because you're helping me train Google a little bit. And if you're not a Vocabbett member, you can sign up for the challenge at vocabbett.com/500 words. I'll leave the link in the show notes. And remember that to lock in that special challenge price, you need to sign up within the next week. Vocabbett ambassadors, I will send you an email this week sharing how your referral commissions will work for this. But essentially, you get 40% of the sign-up price. So if you sign up a bunch of your friends, that's a really great way to earn some extra money. For anyone who's new, the Vocabbett Ambassador Program is a program where people who already know and love Vocabbett share it and they earn a commission on the sales. And if you'd like to apply to be an ambassador, the application is really quick and I'll be turning them around very quickly this week because I know that people are going to want to share this challenge. So feel free to sign up for the challenge and the Vocabbett Ambassador Program if you're interested. I'll include links to all of that in the show notes, and I'm really excited for this challenge. It's going to be a really great summer.